Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Homie Hut evening ASMR video. Today I'm going to bring you a short story as our first introduction into the series. I hope you enjoy and maybe get some nice sleep out of my calm, soothing voice for the duration of this audio recording. It was a cold, melancholy night as I sat within the Austrian Alps. I looked down at my watch. 10:30. Great. Just missed the last train off the mountain. Well, I guess it's time to look for some shelter because, truthfully, it can get quite cold at night up in the Alps. I begin my descent down a small gravel road leading away from the train station, kicking myself for missing the one chance I had to get back to my hotel room during this long backpacking trip. It begins to snow ever so slightly in the January, crisp, clean air that is whipping by my hair. I look around and so far there's nothing much to be seen besides the glistening snow sitting upon the trees, some rustling in the bushes, and the absolutely wonderful moon just casting a beautiful shadow across the landscape. I continue heading down this trail for what feels like an eternity, but eventually I reach a small little outcropping where what appears to be a small village is located. I walk up to the first house that I see and knock with a tentative tap-tap. After a few moments, a nice little lady comes to the door, and she gives me a very puzzled look. She invites me in after I plead my case that I missed the last train and was looking for some shelter for the night as I didn't want to spend it out in the cold and the snow. I wasn't prepared. All I had with me was my jeans on my body, a pair of LL Bean boots, my trench coat, a toboggan, my passport, wallet, and just some euros that I had for taking the trip up to see the wonderful sights within the Alps. I try to offer her some euros, but she very adamantly declines this form of payment. She invites me inside, and I sit down at a small wooden table, I would probably say 4x4, if I had to guess, made of crude wooden top and crude wooden legs, something that someone had very obviously fashioned themselves. There was a pie cooking on the stove, and a warm glow emanated from the fire as it slowly crackled in the dying light. She offers me a glass of milk and some of that aforementioned pie, which I gladly accept. And she begins to recount tales of when she was a child and was in the same situation, saying that back in the 40s during occupation they didn't have too much after the war, so they made do, and that trips up to the Alps were something special. When she found this little outcropping and decided after she would get married, come back and start a family here, just due to the beauty emanating from the landscape and how the trees just overlap and the sound of the water trickling down a nearby stream. There's plenty of field to raise cattle, and the view was absolutely astonishing. So we talk a little bit, and she tells me some fantastic tales, and I begin to recount my experiences so far traveling across, just the absolute awe that is invoked within a person whenever they see the Alps for the first time, how they reach out like a sharp dragon's tooth, crunching down upon the sky with no top jaw to be seen. An ancient mountain, full of history, full of culture, and full of beauty. I can't thank this woman enough for letting me stay in her place, and she shows me over to a small corner where they have a cot, and asks me if I need anything else, any water or food, and I politely decline because that milk and apple pie was just absolutely delicious. I retire for the night as the fire is nothing but embers with smoke rolling up the chimney, and close my eyes and allow the peaceful warmth to overcome me. In the morning, I wake up and she's already begun preparing breakfast. A hearty serving of eggs, bacon, and rolls. The smells just a symphony invading my olfactories. It's something so delicious whenever you first wake up in the morning to just have a nice homemade meal. Farm fresh eggs, handmade dough, and pork right from the farm outside. We talk some more, and it becomes apparent that her husband has passed as I begin to take in even more of the area within her home, seeing pictures. There's a gun mounted above the fireplace, and no kids. So I ask her, "Is it just you out here?" And she replies, "Yes." And you're not wrong when I don't get much contact. So I stay and I talk for a bit longer, and after a while, I excuse myself and give this wonderful lady a hug. I head back up the gravel path and look down at my watch, and surprisingly enough, it's 10:30 in the morning. The first train rolls up and I get on and begin my descent down the mountain. It was in this moment that I realized I never caught this woman's name, but I will never forget the kindness that she showed to me on that cold winter day in January. And I hope that someday I'll be able to repay that, whether it's to her or to someone else, that I may be able to provide for them the comforts that they do not have in a time of need. Thank you for listening to The Homie Hut, Episode 1, a little story I made up as I was sitting here. So if it's bad, it happens. Stop in another time when I do another recording and come up with a better story. Have a good night, everyone.